This is Obey on behalf of Electronics, and in this video, we'll explain our economy and diseconomy of scale using our long range and short range average cost curve. Okay, so when it comes to your cost curves, okay, the cost goes up, okay, unless you invest in capital assets. This is where Okay, if you invest in capital assets, you will have a high fixed cost. So say, for example, you start off somewhere over here. This is your fixed cost because of the machine. And as a result of which, okay, as you start off with a fixed asset, okay, your initial cost per unit may be high, but just like your demand curve, okay, starts, okay, falling down. Okay, just like your demand curve where the prices fall, okay, your cost, okay, this is your quantity, excuse me. So your cost will go down. Okay, however, it is not as simple as this because there is something else to keep in mind, which has to do with things like law of diminishing marginal utility, law of diminishing marginal product. Okay, in this case. So if we talk about law of diminishing marginal product, okay, the curve that we're looking at, the curve that we should be looking at, in terms of cost and quantity of units produced. So this is this curve over here. All right, so this will be this curve over here. This is your long range average cost curve, LRAC. And the reason why it's called long range average cost curve is because it represents, it shows the cost of production over a long period of time. Okay, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be 15 years. All right, so on and so forth. Okay, your short range cost curve would be for 1 year, for example. Okay, if your lease is for 1 year, your short range average cost curve could be for 1 year. Okay, and we can draw your short range average cost curve on top of your long range average cost curve to show economy and diseconomy of scale. So say, for example, at this point, okay, let's say about a 6 months into production, okay, what's going to happen is okay, your cost of production, and this is your short range average cost curve, will keep falling down. Okay, so notice the direction arrow over here. Okay, so this is your cost of production. Your cost of production, it keeps falling down. It hasn't moved uh, towards or it hasn't moved at the point of transition yet, okay, but it's heading there. Okay, it's heading towards the point of transition, but at this point, it's still being reduced. The cost of production is being reduced because obviously you have investments in capital asset. Okay, you start off with a fixed asset, for example, your machinery, your equipment, your gadget, your tool, as a result of which, okay, you do have high operating expenses per unit, okay, because of that fixed asset, okay, but okay, as you produce more units, as you produce more in quantity, okay, that cost, the cost of fixed asset is spread out. Okay, again, this is cost per unit. All right, so your cost is being reduced at this point because you start off with a high cost over here, a high figure um, for your cost per unit. Okay, but the cost per unit keeps going down as you produce more. Okay, same goes for this point over here. Okay, the cost of production is moving towards, or your short range average cost curve rather, is moving towards your transition point for your long range average cost curve, but it's not there yet. Okay, for that reason, and again, this is close to your transition point. Okay, for that reason, the cost is still dropping. Okay, the cost is still being reduced, but it's not there yet. All right, now at this point where you have a bit of a flat curve, your long range average cost curve is flat. Okay, you have your point of transition for your short range average cost curve. as well as your long range average cost curve. So this is where the cost of production is neither being reduced nor is it being um, increased. Okay, so it's neither going down nor is it going up. Okay, the cost of production is stable. Okay, stays at a certain figure. So let's say the cost of production is $200 per unit. It will stay at $200 per unit for quite some time. Let's say a couple of months. All right, and this is the reason why you have a flat line over here for your long range average cost curve. Okay, but as you move forward into the future, let's say 10 years from now, okay, what's going to end up happening is you will have reached, okay, your maximum capacity for the machineries that you have in your factory, for example, okay, or the workers that you've hired so far. And this is a service-based business. Okay, your workers can only bring in so many customers or consumers. Your machineries can produce so many units. Okay, for that reason, you may have reached your maximum capacity. This would be at point of transition. So as you move forward, let's say 10 years into production, okay, at this point, okay, your machinery, okay, is being overused, okay, which means your machinery is being operated in a way that is not really sustainable, okay, which basically means that your cost of production goes up, okay, which means it's heading in the upward direction. This is cost of production is heading in the upward direction. And again, this is your short range average cost curve, SRAC. And the reason why it's going up is because the production is not sustainable. Okay, you don't have enough machines for the number of workers you have in your factory, for example. Okay, as a result of which, okay, what's going to end up happening is your machines are being overused, or there are too many workers on one machine, which means the machines will break down that often. And if they do break down, your maintenance costs will go up, which means your overall operating expenses will go up. Okay, as a result of which your short range average cost curve will look something like this, where the cost is more, okay, is going up. The cost of production is going up. Okay, and same over here. This is where the cost of production um, will be really high. Okay, it may be the same as this point over here. All right, so the cost of production is going up and it will be more than this point over here. So basically what's happening over here is when the cost of production is being reduced, let's say because of investment in capital, let's say from point A up till point B, this is your economy of scale. And from point B to point C, this is your diseconomy of scale. So this is diseconomy of scale. And the reason why you have economy of scale is because as you invest in assets, capital assets, the cost of production per unit goes down. The reason why you have this economy of scale is because you reach your maximum capacity for your capital assets. And if you don't invest in more capital assets, let's say machinery or vehicles or cars, okay, what's going to end up happening is your cost of production will start going up again. Okay, the cost of production per unit. All right, so that's it for this video. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.